So today we're going to talk about the path to improving your environment. We all live in these environments where there is a ton of data, a ton of applications. And how do we get to the next phase? How do we really improve what we're working on? So stay tuned. We're going to jump right to a process that can help you get there. So this is an example of an analysis that's already been done. So we'll start on the left side and kind of work our way through on the right. On the left side there, you see that organizational users, so an effort has to be placed in gathering information about the environment, collecting the data about their data. What applications are they using? What source supplies the data for that application? What networks does it use if you have multiple classifications of networks? What criticality is that application? All of that type of data about the data is collected there in the understand phase. Now, when you have all of that information, now you need to start rolling up your sleeves and doing some of the work, which is when we land there under analyze. So to analyze this data, it can be done manually, of course, but the first thing you need to assess is what are my other data sources. In most environments, they have enterprise data sources as well. So for example, in the government, in the Air Force, they have 6 primary data systems, and they call them the Big Six. And so those Big Six applications or data sources, have and hold different applications and different application data within them. So now the trick is, how do you take from the understand phase all of the information that you've collected about the data that's being used to support the mission down within all of the sub-organizations within your organization? How do you get that to balance against those enterprise data sources and then produce for you what data is eligible to or actionable to be able to migrate into the enterprise data sources or continue as a hybrid, perhaps with storage local and in the enterprise? So once the AI analyzes all that data and kind of does the comparison, now we need to move to improve. So it's great to collect information and analyze information, and it's great information to know, and it's cool the way it works. But at the end of the day, we need to take action. So let's start on the upper right hand of this graphic and talk about what that means. So first, is the application or the data actionable? During your understand phase, you may collect thousands of applications, but some of them may not be actionable. They may not have data. Maybe they're just a reader, for example, of a specific format of a file, like a PDF, or just something that's used and has no retention characteristics to it. We don't need that data, and that application just a point in time gives us some information and moves on. Those are non-actionable, meaning that there's not really data in it that's going to take advantage of that enterprise data source. So we're going to take a look and see what are those applications or that data that can be either migrated or integrated or perhaps in a hybrid approach. Remember that, and the arrow between the AI and the enterprise data source is dual-sided, and there's a reason for that, because the data itself will be going back and forth between the data sources, and this is going to be the case with that first step as well. So how do we migrate that data into those data sources, not only to put our data into the enterprise, but to pull data from the enterprise to enhance our data? The next thing is, once you've figured out the actionable applications and data that needs to be migrated or put into a hybrid model, now we need to identify the specific needs what the mission impact is, the prioritization, and the cost. Essentially, develop a scope of work of what needs to be done to make that data set for that application actionable. Then through automation, once you've said, yes, it's actionable, and here is the additional information needed, now through automation, tasks are assigned and built, and the scope is generated. The scope is in down there at the bottom. Can the organization complete tasks with a step-by-step guide? So the first approach is, can the local organization assist in correcting, now that they know what the scope of work that needs to be done with their data? Can they resolve that themselves? Or at the very bottom of the screen, are there additional resources that are going to need to be sought after to make the changes within the environment? So this is a full view of kind of understand and aligning our data with enterprise data sources and other data sources within the organization. This is a critical piece when we talk about reducing labor of effort, optimizing cost, and truly getting the most out of your applications.